Mount Tasman on the right there, Mount Cook, the two tallest peaks in the country. We've got the Cascades here from the river, just as we hoped. That was the plan, and beautiful.
Holy shit!
5:30 in the afternoon, got a camp set up. Now it's just the waiting game, waiting for that light to drop off. Sunset from this perspective is only really going to light up that southern face of Aoraki, so it's really about the sunrise here. And obviously we'll go for a shoot for sunset anyway, but I'm really excited for the morning and hopefully that first light blasting that eastern face, and if we're fortunate, maybe a little bit of cloud up there. We've got the beautiful river flowing out of the valley up here. We're going to go check that out and hopefully use that as a way to just push the eye through into the background there. It's just an incredible perspective. I just can't wait for that light to drop off. Just scouting out potential compositions here with this iceberg, but it's one thing they're not going to teach you in school. It's this right here. Come closer, don't be shy. This is my little secret. Every image I've taken across the last 15 years, it all begins right here. You've probably heard me speak about it before in other videos, but just adding those layers, the near to far, just to create depth, it's highly effective. So instead of just walking right down to the water's edge and getting water ice mountain, it's coming back, taking a step back and then getting something, another layer of detail there, and giving the viewer something close to take in. So the situation here is the grasses, then we flow on to the lake edge, the ice, the water, etc.
What is it?
Had some rain in the night, it's cleared up now. Would have been nice to have a few clouds lingering, but can't complain. So we've got the light at least going to hit the face of Aoraki. It's already got that soft glow on there. So we've got about 20 minutes until the sun should actually hit the summit, so we're going to make our way down to the river there, to those cascades, and get some nice slow shutters there, get some beautiful water flow leading us towards the mountain. Second, or even a quarter. Got this atmosphere. Look at this fog rolling in. Wow. Well, that's incredible having all that fog just roll through. It's just made the image, especially because there's no cloud. So I've come up the top now. Got some perspectives down there, obviously with the Cascades. I figured now there's a lot of fog. Come up here and just try to get a completely different image using these plants that I checked out earlier. Way. Yeah, this is just beautiful. Completely different to the previous image too. That's right, just pan to the right a little bit and then, yeah. Oh, that is just incredible. Perfect little garden just overlooking everything. Well, time to pack up the camp. What a 24 hours, eh? Friends, the biggest peaks in the country, to get that beautiful fog roll through. All right, time for a coffee, bite to eat. Nah, time to head on out. Just doesn't get much better, guys, to be honest. What do you reckon? One of the better ones we've seen. Alright guys, I just thought I'd have a quick chat about composition and finding the right image, the one that you want to keep from a shoot that you might have been on, and maybe some of the thoughts that I have when you're making that selection process. The image we're on here is more or less the final one that I kept, and I'll explain those reasons in a moment. Now, I'm just going to reset that to the raw so you can see what I was starting out with. Quite a big dynamic range. I was really making sure to protect those highlights on the snow up there, and then I'll just apply that again. You get an idea of how I've more or less, recovered those tones. The original one that I ended up keeping and sharing in the video is also a focus stack. So this is just the single raw here, focused in the middle, and then you'll see that the background is a little bit soft, and that's even at f16, hence the focus stack. So here is the final result, and you can see again, I'm just going to reset this one now, and this is the raw. Now, in order to talk about the composition and these images, what I'm going to do is just select all of them, Command A, and then I might just bring up the exposure a little bit and the shadows, and then I'll pull the highlights down, and that way we can actually just see what we're looking at. I'll change the color profile there. Bring that up a little bit more, and I'll probably just warm them up because they're all quite blue. Anyway, whatever, you get the idea. Let's just talk about composition first and foremost. So originally jumping down the stream, this is one interesting thing about this area, is having this nice river flowing out into the lake, which obviously can make for some great leading lines and water textures. Had this vertical orientation and then this horizontal one. This frame here that I've grabbed wouldn't be one that I'd process. I definitely had ones with slower shutter speed, but you get the idea anyway. More just talking about composition, probably going a little bit tighter on that one as well. So the premise, using the river is one good thing about water. It creates those textures when we do a slow shutter. So this is at 1/3 of a second. We get those nice painterly strokes in the water. And if you get the flow going the right way, it can help push and lead the eye towards our main subject, and it just breaks up. It's a nice contrast against the hard rock, soft water with hard rock. It's a beautiful contrast. I often look for balance in my composition. So you see here we've got a large stone on the left, a large one on the right, creating a bit of a guideline there. I might just use this brush here. So compositionally leading the eye through, And then of course we hit our main subject matter in the background. Now, one thing here, this is at 15 mil. I just feel like the mountain, you know, considering it is the tallest mountain in the country, just wasn't doing it justice with this composition. With the horizontal, this is more just a play with, you know, different channels of water. I feel like realistically, this was probably the better approach, keeping it simpler compared to the wide horizontal. This also has Nick's hat in it as well. Again, I just grabbed these raws quickly for the sake of talking about composition. I think this perspective here would have been the one to work with out of the river, but going in a little bit tighter so the mountain is not too small, and then something like that. Now, I may have shot that for the sake of the lesson, though. I didn't want to go through all the raws, because ultimately I did choose to process the garden scene. I just love the contrast, the color that it gave us, and also just another layer of detail here, and all these little fine details in the leaves. I just thought that was so nice, and it broke up a relatively barren environment of the rock. You know, so much rock down here. It's all glacial landscape, so it is quite barren. So the fact that we've got this garden growing up here is just fascinating to me. Once I saw that, I knew that was definitely going to be the one to keep. So why did I choose the horizontal and not the vertical? I like the balance better. So here in the vertical, I feel like, just the way I framed it up, I've got the mountain just off the center. Why is it off the center? Because the mountain is flowing this way to the right. If you put the mountain dead center, then it's going to flow to the right and the eye will finish off center. Because it's flowing right, I offset it to the left, so that's roughly the center. It's offset to the left, flows to the right, so we have a nice balancing act going on in that centralized area. And then in the foreground, I liked these greens here, and then we've also got these rocks on the right as well. If you look at the horizontal though, similar thing, but I've gone a little bit tighter. So 16 mil, 21 mil, and I feel like that still got the same details in. We still got the big greens here with the droplets on them. This little garden up on the right. Mountain's a lot larger though, at 21 mil. And I just feel like that pulled everything in quite nice, even picking up the stream in that mid-ground too, which was critical, and that really helps fill in that open space. If I tried to do that here on the vertical, it was just getting a little bit too tricky. It was coming in a touch too tight to, you know, if I went 21, then I just feel like I was forcing the eye too much to the garden. So I feel like the balance was a lot better here as well, because one thing with this horizontal frame from a balance perspective, it is quite heavy on this side, but I feel like I was able to utilize enough of the greens there, and even having the mountain offset to the left helped counterbalance the entire frame. Ultimately, when you get home and you're going through the raw files, you really just need to go with your gut instinct. And I knew when I was scrolling through all the water scenes, once I saw the green with the garden, I just knew that's the one. Especially when you have a clear sky, the blue green complements that really well. So having that green in there just was the chef's kiss. But come on, let's face it, the fog and atmosphere is what really pushed this over the edge and made it worthwhile. So very fortunate to get that. When it came to the processing here, I've got quite a few masks going on, so a bit of sky recovery there. Let's turn this one on and off. So just bringing up the dark tones in that midground to emphasize the atmosphere. That's the sky, so original sky, and then that's recovering the sky. And then what's this one? Just bringing up some of the whites in the foreground to bring out those details. And then when we look at the global adjustments, oh, battery's going flat. Color profile going to landscape. I did color grade the highlights here and just warmed up the mountain, which, yeah, a bit of a balancing act there, but I think I hit the right point. And yeah, pretty straightforward, but like I said, I had to focus stack as well. So that was just a matter of syncing all those files across and then blending it together. Anyway, guys, thanks for viewing the video, and I'll see you in next week's video. If you have any questions or comments, please leave them below, and thank you for your support.